Guys, it's time. We can review CG Lid and Fina and CG Citra in Folka. I'm so ready. How strong are they? What were the global exclusive buffs? Should you be wanting these characters on your party? Or are you just going to throw them aside? I will say that they're not time limited, so they will be available for forever. But that being said, guys, let's get into it. Let's start with Summer Lid and Fina first. So how strong are Summer Lid and Fina? Let's get into this kit and we'll go over it together. So starting off, that's their sprite. Pretty cool, pretty awesome. Their TMR is the Mog Beach Ball. Okay, the Mog Beach Ball is going to be an accessory with 50 flat MP, 3 defense, 3 spirit, okay, and then 30% MP as well as 30% spirit. So pretty strong, a little bit of MP, a little bit of spirit. Nothing like super amazing though, but you're going to want to have access to this for this unit to proc their trust ability, unless you also have access to their super TMR, which is the Beach Girls. Okay, so this Beach Girls super TMR is going to be materia that gives you 50 defense, 50 spirit. That's percentage because it's a materia. And then they give you access to lightning, water, and light resistance increased by 60%. So very strong super TMR as well when you're looking for that elemental resistance. And then it gives you some nice defense and spirit as well, 50% of each. So fantastic super TMRs. TMR is kind of whatever. The super TMR though, absolutely amazing. So let's scroll on down in here and we'll take a look at their kit. The weapon selection, they have access to all of the traditional stuff. Knives and stabs and all that fun stuff, but knives and stabs, two of the top tier things that you want to have access to on a support unit like this. Now the highlighted skills that you can see, they are dual castable. Okay, so let's go over them. We'll start with Shaved Ice here. She's got to have 4 skills like this, so we're going to go over Shaved Ice together. We'll describe the skill, and then the other ones that mirror it, we'll just talk about how they mirror Shaved Ice. So Shaved Ice is going to be a defense decrease of 60% for 5 turns to 1 enemy. And then it's going to be an ice and water resistance in peril by 75% for 5 turns to 1 enemy as well. So defense break, single target, 75%. Ice and water in peril by 75% for 5 turns as well to also 1 enemy. Now, if you use this after Rest in Beach House, it's called Beach House Break in Global. Rest in Beach House is the term I'm used to because that was the unofficial translated term. I'll probably say that term because it's the one that is in my mind, okay? But if you use it after Beach House Break / Rest in Beach House, the name changes to Ultra Shaved Ice. The defense break goes from 60% to 74%, and it goes from single target to all enemies. And then the Imperil goes from 75% to 100% ice and water Imperil for 5 turns to all enemies again. So it upgrades the percentage break into percentage Imperil, and it makes it AoE instead of single target. Now she got 4 skills just like this because she has a defense break, a spirit break, a magic break, and an attack break. And this is kind of something that's in her kit. It's not the best part of her kit, but it's pretty cool and it's pretty interesting that it's there, and you need to know how it works because you'll probably be using it from time to time. Now, let's go on to Aqua Hunter. Increase water resistance by 75% for 5 turns to all allies, and then it gives you a physical and magical damage bonus killers by 40% to aqua monsters. That's be pretty strong there. This was the global increase. It was previously 30%. Now it's going to be 40% increase there. So she didn't really need that major of a buff anyway, but she got an access to one. So there you go. There's your buff, one of the 2 buffs. Now we have Arms Dissolver as well. This is CG Lid's old skill. It's going to be a 1x multiplier, and it's going to be a 50% attack and magic break to all enemies. Probably actually won't be using the skill that much. Lovely Waters, the next part of her kit. It allows you to do some unique things. All right, and this is going to give you the opportunity to water imbue your whole team, guys, by 5 turns. Okay, to your entire party, water imbue. The downside is it has a 20% chance to inflict charm on your party. There's lots of ways to get around that nowadays with the different charm resistances, and you don't have to be using this in her to make her good in your party. It's something you can explore if you want to, but we'll talk about this skill more in a little bit when we get done with a lot of the other stuff. Okay, now we have Watermelon Splitting. This is going to be the spirit break, so it's going to be 60% spirit break, and this one's going to be water and earth resistance. A lot of these breaks, they're all water in peril, and then there's another resistance down as well. So it'll be water fire, water ice, water earth, and water and lightning. This gives her 5 different perils that she can do between 75 all the way up to 100% in peril. Okay, super awesome there. Sexy Charm, Beach Attack is coming in. Beach Attack is coming in. It's the attack break. This is the water and fire in peril. Manatopia is a skill that you can use. CG Fid can use CG Fina's Old Manitopia, a little bit of MP regeneration. She cannot dual cast this skill though. Barrier Dissolver, 50% defense and spirit break for 3 turns. Not really going to want to cast that skill either. Summer Fun, this is her magic break, and it's a lightning and water imperil of 100%. So when it's upgraded, so that's your lightning and water imperil there. Now we have Beach Parasol. A lot of people will skip over this skill and go, she doesn't really have any access to any healing. Beach Parasol is a 75% water resistance buff for 5 turns to all allies, but you need to keep reading the skill because it's also a heal of 2,500 base HP with an 18 times healing modifier. That is the same exact strength as Kiraja. So it's a Kiraja heal, and then that's not all. It also gives you 30 flat MP to all allies as well. This skill is dual castable. So her Kiraja does 3 things. It's a water buff, may or may not be good in certain fights. It's got the Kiraja potency, so there's that Kiraja heal, and then it also restores MP when you use it, and you can dual cast this skill with itself or something else if you have that desire to do so. So she has top tier healing with a little bit of MP regeneration attached to her Kiraja. Now she also has Water Fight, which is 100% water resistance buff, and then it goes down to 75, then it goes down to 50. It also gives you 200% High Tide for 5 turns through your whole party as well, and that may be where you want to use your skill there. A little bit of water resistance and a little bit of High Tide, but it also has the ability to enable Water Splash to your whole party for 5 turns. Water Splash is a physical attack that is an Aurora Ray chaining family. So she has the ability to make anyone chain with anyone on your party, whether or not you're going to make them chain with an actual Aurora Ray user, or if you're just using this ability to maybe have like one of your supports and maybe your tank or something, build a chain up for a chain finisher. So this allows you to make use of your chain finishers very easily. You can bring no chainers in your party if you want to do so, and just bring like 2 CG Jakes or 2 CG Sids or 2 Regina or whoever have you that you're going to be using as your chain finisher, and just build a party around whatever your strongest chain finishers. Maybe you have strong chain finishers, not strong chainers. Maybe you have strong chain finishing friends and stuff like that. So she does have this full kit right there at 6-star. Now moving in, we have 7-star. If you have her super TMR equipped, this is where she gets dual cast from. All right, dual cast for everything except for the skills we talked about, and one more skill here, which is actually Rest in Beach House. But before we get to Rest in Beach House, her 7-star cooldown skill available on turn 1 with a 10-turn cooldown is the Ultimate Siesta. All right, so it's a 10-turn cooldown, very long. You can use it on turn 1, and it does 2 very important things. It applies auto revive to your entire party for 3 turns, and they will revive at 80% HP, and it does an attack, defense, magic, and spirit break of 74% for 2 turns to all enemies. So very strong there, and this is a dual castable skill, Ultimate Siesta. So you can ultimate Siesta, maybe give your team High Tide, Ultimate Siesta, Imbue, or whatever have you. You can combine this with whatever you want. It may be later in the fight you need to use this in a heal, something like that. You can go ahead and have access to dual cast with Ultimate Siesta. The other one is Beach House Break, 6-turn cooldown, available on turn 1. Recovers 75% HP to all allies, and then increase your allies' limit burst gauge by 14, including yourself as well. So very strong there as well. Can't dual cast Rest in Beach House with anything else, but that is access there for you to use it as soon as turn 1. Turn 1 if necessary, guys. So very strong there, but we're not done yet. Let's go look at her passives before we talk about her more. Cute swimsuit here, HP and MP plus 20%. MP plus 20%, Spirit plus 30%, Suntan, Defense and Spirit plus 30% with auto refresh, Defense plus 30% passive, 50% water resistance, 2 limit burst gauge crystals per turn, very strong there, 30% HP, 20% HP, all right, 20% HP is then followed by 30% more HP, 30% more MP, and 100% High Tide. So she's very, very tanky, a lot of HP, a lot of MP, a lot of defense, a lot of spirit. As a support unit, as a healer, that's very strong, with a little bit of water resistance thrown in there as well. And then that High Tide, very important, because you want to be going after her limit burst. Now, her limit burst here, you're going to want to max this out, because she's primary a breaker. She's a primary breaker for you guys. Attack, defense, magic, and spirit, 75% decrease for 3 turns to all enemies. Very strong. And then 100% water resistance buff for 3 turns to all allies as well. So that's her full basic kit. Let's talk about this just a little bit to break it down for you guys. So she's primary a breaker. She has access to other supportive aspects. I call her like she's got the offensive supports. She's got the Imperil, she's got the Imbues if you need to, and she's got the access to utilize other certain aspects of the game, such as chain finishers, which usually are pretty hard to build around because you want to be able to build the chain up for your chain finisher. So usually it's pretty hard to bring like 2 tanks, a support, 2 chainers, and a chain finisher. It's just too many characters. You can't do that. With CG, Lid, and Fina in your party, you have access to have her be one of those supports and then make anyone chain. So you can be like CG, Lid, and Fina, a buffer, a supportish unit, 2 tanks if you have access to that, and 2 finishers, and then maybe someone else in your party can help her heal or something like that, and because she also has that top tier healing as well. So she's got a lot of cool things that you can play around with, and she's very good at making the best of everything that you have access to. So let's talk about that really quick. So she's got top tier breaking, give her limit burst stuff, make her break right away with her cooldown skill on turn 1, apply the auto revive as well if you want to, and then later on down the road you can use her limit burst girl summer vacation to keep that break up for 3 turns, and you'll have a lot of time. That 3-turn break is pretty impressive and pretty strong for a unit that's versatile like CG, Lid, and Fina. This gives her time to do other things, right? It's not a 2-turn break where you need to break and then you can do something and then break again and then do something. You can break with the limit burst and you get 2 turns to do whatever you want. So now we've seen all of her kit. We can go over the most important parts. What is she going to bring to your party? So she's going to be primarily a breaker for you. This is because of her cooldown skill that she's got access to. The other 5 skills as well that can get buffed up to 74%. You can do that as well, but her cooldown skill and her limit burst are going to be your primary ways of breaking with her, and it's going to be pretty easy. She's got a little bit of high tide. The cooldown only lasts for 2 turns. The limit burst does last for those 3 turns. We talked about how that's really important, and it only costs 28 limit burst crystals. So you can go ahead and build up some high tide, give her some limit burst gauge per turn, and you'll be good to go that way. So that's going to be her primary thing that she's doing in your party, is breaking. Now the other supportive aspects, she got a little bit of MP refresh for your team. She can heal very strongly actually with that Kiraja. There's only a couple things she can't do. She can't really full life. She doesn't have access to that. She only has 1 way to re-raise on that 10-turn cooldown, so she does have access to it, but it's not really her primary role. So if you're looking for a re-raise and full life, you're gonna need to get that from someone else. But she does offer some other aspects that we talked about. She allows you to fit chain finishers in your team. She also allows you to pull and like make use of all of the characters that you have in your account. If you have good chain finishers, great. If you have good true dual wield units, she's gonna be fantastic with those as well. If you have access to different elemental weapons on your friends, but you don't have access to those yet, and you want the elemental chain or something like that, she also lets you do that too. So let's talk about something we usually don't talk about, which is going to be dual elemental chaining. Now typically when you're building a chain, it goes up by 0.1 modifier for just the normal chain bonus, and then 0.2 per element. So if you're not able to spark chain, dual elemental chaining is going to help you out a ton in building your chain damage modifier as fast as possible. You'll be going from 0.3 chain modifier increase per hit to 0.5, so a 66% increase, and this will be pretty noticeable on a lot of you guys out there who aren't able to spark chain or don't spark chain or can't do it consistently or what have you, when you're going and building those true dual wield units that are like Xeno the Beta Star, because true dual wield strength is building that chain modifier up to a 6.0 modifier. Now if you have access to dual element, that's going to be enabling you to build that chain 66% faster, giving you much more damage considering that you're not spark chaining or elemental spark chaining. So having this ability to build that chain that much faster is going to give you that much more damage over time, instead of doing just less damage, building that chain up slowly because you're just single element non-spark chaining. You're going to be able to dual element chain, and then on top of that, she takes away that weakness, right, that you cannot have 2 imperils of equivalent strength on that character, because she has access to 2 imperils of equivalent strength, right? She's got the water fire imperil, the water earth imperil, the water thunder imperil, and the water ice imperil. And she has the ability to imbue you with that water if you so desire. And with this double element chain, you'll be able to max out that multiplier that much quicker, get that much more damage over time, because you're not going to be spending a bunch of time building that damage up. You're going to be at the chain cap of 6.0 on your true dual wield units right away. And she does take care of that downside that we were talking about, where you cannot have 2 equivalent high tier imperils, because she has the 2 equivalent high tier imperils, right? So maybe you have Xeno of the Beta Star, pretty popular character right now. You're using a non-elemental weapon and like a fire weapon or whatever, and he's imbuing himself. Who knows? You go ahead and you have another character that has access to a fire weapon, and they're chaining together. So instead of doing just a single element chain, building it up, you can go ahead and imbue them with water, right? Make them fire water, and then go ahead and use her 100% fire and water imperil, or 75% fire, water imperil, what have you. And that's going to give you equivalent imperils in these situations to go ahead and make use of that dual element chaining multiplier. Build that chain multiplier up super fast. That way you're spending most of your time when you're chaining at the top tier of the 6.0 multiplier cap, instead of spending the large majority of it building up over time due to the fact that you're not spark chaining. Okay, so that's gonna be pretty cool there as well. She does a lot of these really cool things. A lot of her weaknesses, you can build a team around here. You can actually maximize her. Sylvie is a character that everyone talks about with Lid and Fina. Are they good together? Which one's better? They're not better. They actually are perfect partners, because we've talked about a lot of things here that Svid does not do. CG Lid and Fina. She doesn't have raise. She doesn't have re-raise. She doesn't have stat buffs. She doesn't have access to status ailment reduction, status ailment buffs. She doesn't have access to a way to take off status ailments. She doesn't have a way to remove break, or she doesn't have break resistance. Sylvie has all of these things, but Sylvie doesn't have any of the things that Lid and Fina has, right? The only things they really share, they have the ability to make people chain together, and they have an imbue. Outside of that, they're very different characters, right? Sylvie can't heal, Lid and Fina can heal. Sylvie can break, but it's not really her primary function. She has like a break that she can use. She can't full-time be a breaker. Lid and Fina can be a full-time breaker. If Lid and Fina needs to take a turn off to do something else, if you have both of them in your party, like you need to heal with Lid and Fina, or you want to boost everyone's limit burst gauge up with Lid and Fina, anything like that, on that turn, if you so happen to need a break, you can use Sylvie's breaks on that turn. So very strong there. You can also rotate between like CG Lid and Fina's limit burst and some breaks from Sylvie, because they both last 3 turns. So that's be very strong in that sort of team comp for you as well. The two of them can together combine very, very, very well. The other thing that Lid and Fina has that Sylvie doesn't have, Lid and Fina has all these imperils. Lid and Fina has 1 imbue, which is water. Sylvie has 3 imbues, right? She's got the lightning and earth imbue. Lid and Fina has access to lightning and earth imperil, but no lightning and earth imbue. So the only thing you won't really be able to imperil between the two of them is holy, which you'll be able to do with CG Charlotte if you go ahead and add them to that wombo combo. That's gonna be the trifecta of super awesome support characters going forward. So if you have a Sylvie and you want to make her even better, Lid and Fina might be that ticket for you, because you're gonna have healing, re-raise, full life, status ailment resistance, attack defense magic spirit buffs, break resistance, giant breaks, and ways to make your party do a bunch of really weird stuff. You can maximize your chain finishing damage, your true dual-wield units if you're not spark chaining, maximize the damage of characters that didn't have access to being imbued before, right? Like Kingdom Hearts Cloud and Sora and stuff. If you're still using those characters, their strongest weapons are non-elemental weapons. Now you can just go ahead and give them those non-elemental weapons, give them an imbue very easily, give them that apparel, and you're not sacrificing any slots to your party. To do that, you have a full-time breaker who opens up the door for all these other things that you can do, and she adds value to all the characters you already own. So she's going to allow you to maximize the damage of a lot of the stuff that you just get. And in a gacha game like this, that's pretty important. That's why I like them so much. She gives you a wide variety of strong things to do. You don't always need the top damage dealer over and over and over. You didn't before, but now since you can eke out that much more damage with this support, eke out that much more damage with this combination of party members, you randomly get this damage dealer who's pretty good, eke out that much more damage. That keeps it so you don't need to keep feeling the pressure of getting more damage, need more damage, which you didn't before, but now you really won't, because you can eke out the damage of a lot of characters who had hidden potential, who didn't have the right sort of team comp. This allows you to do that. So pretty strong character there. I love her for those reasons. Hopefully I didn't spend too much time on it for you guys. So let's get into the next one, which is going to be Summer Folka in Citra. Not to be outdone. How good is Summer Folka in Citra? Heard they're really bad. Heard they'll boom, gone. What do they do? Evo damage, that sounds terrible. But let's get into it for you here. The TMR is going to be the Summer Parasol, and this TMR is actually really strong. Okay, so for a TMR, the spirit on it's not super insane, but the effect on it is what we're talking about. So it's going to give you 15 attack, 58 magic, 120 spirit, and it's going to give you an additional 20% spirit. So very strong there. It doesn't have super high tier raw spirit, but it does have 20% on it as well. So that's what we're looking for there. And then it gives you the effect of Heart of Passion. What does Heart of Passion do? It auto casts at the start of your turn a skill named Heart of Passion, and it gives you 1 Esper Gauge crystal per turn. Summer Parasol, as you can see here. If you don't believe me, Heart of Passion, auto cast the Heart of Passion, and it's going to give you 1 Esper Gauge Crystal per turn. Doesn't sound super strong. It's very strong once you look at the rest of her kit. So very strong TMR. You're going to want to pick this up for her, definitely. Now her super TMR is the Cool Beauty. She gives 50% HP, 50% MP, and then Ice, Water, and Dark resistance increase of 60% as well on top of that. So very, very, very strong super TMR. Very, very, very strong TMR. Now let's look at her kit and let's look at what roles she provides to your party. I like this unit quite a lot. She was a unit that I kind of wanted but didn't want to pull for, so maybe we'll get a couple tonight, maybe we won't on our stream, because we are pulling and we're hanging out with our boy Clake Zolt tonight, 8 p.m. EST. Make sure you come and check us out. We're just having a good old time. So let's go over her kit here. We have the Rippling Waves. Here's an important part of her kit. Increased resistance to Poison, Blind, Sleep, Silence for 5 turns, Defense and Spirit Break resistance, ailment, you cannot be broken anymore, can't be stopped, and then Stop Resist as well for 5 turns there, and it also gives you 60% water resistance for 5 turns. If this sounds familiar to you, it's because it is. Remember, this is Citra in Folka. This is half of Folka's status ailment, defense and spirit break resistant, stop resistant thing. And yes, she does have the other one. We'll skip down to it right here. In Gleaming Sun, increased resistance to paralyzed, confused, disease, petrify for 5 turns, attack and magic break resistance, and charm by 100% for 5 turns to all allies. And it gives you light resistance, increase of 60% for 5 turns. So with these two things, which as you can see, you can dual cast, she's got that supportive kit. If you've missed Folka, you've been wanting this ribbon sort of effect for your whole party, for future content and stuff, she has access to that. And she's a damage dealing character. She's a damage dealing support. And she's got this top tier ribbon thing that makes you immune to charm, stop, all the fun stuff, breaks, all that good stuff. So moving on, we have Undead Deluge. Increase your attack and magic by 120% for 5 turns, and your physical and magical killer to undeads by 30% for 5 turns as well. So she's got attack and magic breaks. She also has this other skill. We're going to go down, Devil Deluge. Increase your defense and spirit by 120% for 5 turns, and your physical magical killers against demons by 30% for 5 turns as well. So she's got attack, defense, magic, and spirit buffs. They're not the highest in the game, but they are 120. They're on demand. So if that's something you need her to do, she can do it. You might have a better buffer than that, but maybe you don't. Maybe you want her to be your buffer damage dealing support unit. If you are using 2 of these characters to chain together because they are damage dealing chainers on turn 1, if you don't want to do damage on turn 1 and they're going to be your support, you can have one of them do the Folka thing that ribbons your whole party. The other one can do all your buffs. You have your buffs and your ribbon on your damage dealers, you're good to go. And then you can go ahead and start doing damage from then on if that's something that sparks your interest. Put a smile on your face. Pretty cool there, huh? Now we have Summon Sunshine. Speaking of smiles, this skill is pretty powerful. Let's get into it. It costs 2 Esper Gauge crystals. It is a 2-part skill, so it's got like the front end part and it's got like the back end chain finishing part. The chain family is actually Absolute Mirror of Equity, so if you like that family, good on you. Now the first part is gonna be a 7-hit skill. It's gonna be a 3.0 multiplier, and this is evoke damage. Okay. Now the last hit is gonna be an 18 times multiplier evoke damage. Now usually, traditionally, evoke damage had like this inflated multiplier because it was hybrid damage, right? It was like, you know, be like, oh, Kid Riddy's got a 22 times water multiplier evoke skill. But it wasn't really that strong because, number 1, it couldn't use killers. You had to stack evoke damage on. Number 2 was a hybrid attack. It used half your spirit and half your magic. It was a hybrid magic spirit attack. These Esper Gauge crystals on this character are fully used by spirit. So anytime you're using Esper Gauge crystals to do damage, it's 100% spirit. So this is a full-on, non-hybrid, total 21 times multiplier light elemental damage skill. So very, 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 very strong. It only costs 2 Esper Gauge crystals. Super awesome there. Moving on, Glamorous Shine has a chance to charm your allies by 20%. This might look familiar. It also gives them a light imbue. So she's got the whole imbue your party thing, just like CG Lid and Fina does it. But instead of water, like Lid and Fina, she has light imbue. So that's pretty cool there. Tropical Cocktail actually is a way better skill now in Global. This did not need to get buffed, but it got buffed. And it's 250 MP split over 5 turns to all allies. Increase your water and light resist by 90% for 5 turns to all allies. And it gives an instant 60 MP to your whole party. So that's the global buff, the big part of it anyways, the 60 MP to your whole party. This allows her to be a fantastic mana battery for your party as well. It does cost 90 MP, but she also heals herself now by 60 flat as well as everyone else. So this skill effectively really only costs you 30 MP right away. So if you have 180 MP, you can just dual cast this skill, give your whole party 120 flat, and then the MP refresh obviously will not stack, and that'll give you 50 more MP per turn for the next 5 turns. So very strong skill there. MP regeneration battery on your damage dealer seems good. Gleaming Sun we already went over. Devil Deluge we went over. Summon Waves is the water equivalent of Summon Sunshine. So it's going to be a 21 times multiplier. AT skill, 100% spirit damage, costs 2 limit, or not 2 limit burst crysts, 2 Esper Gauge crysts, and it's just going to be water evoke damage instead of that nice sunshine. Okay, that nice sunshine holy. Now moving on down, we have Water Fight. Very similar skill. This is the same skill that Lid and Fina has, where it has water resistance buff by 100% for 1 turn, then 75, then 50. It also gives 200% high tide to your party, and it gives everyone this skill, Water Splash. So if you want to have someone in your party be a chain finisher, maybe for their limit burst, because their limit burst can be a part of their kit, but it doesn't really chain very well. It's like a 3-hit skill. So you can use Water Fight maybe at some point in the fight to set up your other characters to go ahead and build a chain for your 2 CG Summer not Lid and Fina, shoot, Cilka. Okay, we just call them Cilka. Your 2 CG Cilkas to chain finish their limit bursts on with Water Fight. So pretty cool there. She actually can have, she orders basically other people. She's like, go build me a chain route. I'm a finish on it. So pretty cool there. Summon Sparkling Waves, very strong skill. This one costs 4 Esper Gauge crysts, 6 turn cooldown, available on turn 6. It is in total a 43 times multiplier, pure spirit damage, water and light damage. It also heals your whole party. It Kirajas them, and then it gives you 30% damage mitigation for 3 turns as well. You cannot use this until turn 6, but oh my goodness, an AT skill, water and light damage. You get that double element chain in there. The one downside is if the enemy is either immune to water or absorbs water or light, you won't really be able to use the skill then. But that's about it. If that's fine, you're good to go there, because she does have equivalent imperils. We haven't seen them yet, but she does have imperils for both water and light, and they're equivalent and they're applied at the same time. Now we have High Tide Spirit, one of our other go-to skills. If you're out of Esper Gauge crysts, you can use this skill. AT skill works just like all the other ones, 7 hit followed by a 1 hit. The first part is to be a 2.0 multiplier spirit scaling magic attack, and then the second part is a 10 times multiplier spirit scaling magic attack, and this is AoE. And then the other part that it does, it gives you 2 Esper Gauge crystals each time you cast it. It also heals your party. It's a 1000 flat with a 3.4 healing modifier, which is pretty small, but you're going to be stacking spirit and spirit and spirit on this character, so that's going to get a decent heal, especially if you're dual casting this with both of your CG Cilkas. That's 4 casts for this. You're going to get 4 times that heal. This is like Ash's Heaven's Wrath or whatever, but good. It's going to do a bunch of damage. AoE, chain them up, bada bing, bada boom, max out your Esper Gauge, and just heal your party 4 times. So pretty cool there. Do note that that's not an evocation skill. It's just a straight up magic damage skill. So your Esper Gauge, Esper evocation, what is it called? Evo damage, I guess. I don't know why I brain farted. Your Evo damage won't apply to that. My bad, guys. I don't know what's going on. Now we're gonna be moving into her passives now. A lot of HP, a lot of spirit, a lot of MP. So let's go into it. Magic and spirit plus 30%, evoke damage plus 30%, 10% MP refresh, 30% more magic, 50% water resistance buff, 30% more magic and spirit. You've guessed it. When equipped with the staff, she can evoke any Esper equipped to your party, traditional for a summoner. 20% HP, 30% spirit, 20% MP, 50% more evoke damage, chance to counter physical magical attacks with Calm Down. Now moving into her 7-star passives here. If her TMR or Super TMR is equipped, she's going to be immune to all status ailments in the game. She gets 50% more stats from her equipped Esper, and she will cast Goddess's Respite every turn. This is going to give you 1 Evoke Gauge crystal per turn, which is what makes her TMR that much better, because you go from 1 Evoke Gauge crystal per turn to 2. And going back to her kit, her Evoke skills, the AT chaining skills, cost 2 crystals, right? You're going to need 2 crystals per skill per Cilka in your party. If you have each of them equipped with their TMR, you're going to get 4 Esper Gauge crystals. This will allow you to use High Tide Spirit plus 1 of their higher tier skills right away if you so desire, and then just start filling up from then on and just always be good to go. You're going to get 4 Esper Gauge crystals per turn for every turn for the remainder of the fight passively. So very strong there. MP plus 20%, and then Maidens of the Beach, HP and MP plus 20%, 50% more Evoke Gauge, Oh my goodness, in 100% high tide. So she has 130% passive evoke magic, very strong. This applies to all of her really strong chaining skills, those 21 times multipliers to 43 times multiplier skills. She's got 130%. Oh my goodness, evoke damage right away. That calm down is going to give you the opportunity, this is the counter, to cure all status elements off of your party. This could save you maybe if you were, you know, a little bit lazy, you didn't put up those status element resistance or something like that. This could help you out there. It also has the chance of doing water and light and peril by 50% to your entire enemy team. A lot of these characters, these skills are kind of whatever. They are there. They're a little bit more prominent nowadays due to the fact that you can't cover tank everything. You can't cover all the physical and all the magic damage in a lot of these fights right now. So you'll have a little bit more opportunity for this to go off, but it's not really like the best part, her best in peril. So let's scroll on down here. Let's scroll on down here. Fun in the Sun, her limit burst, if you have it maxed out, it's water evoke damage, 30 times multiplier to all enemies, decrease water and light resistance by 100% for 5 turns to all enemies, and recover 230 MP, and increase your evoke gauge by 5 to 6. This is a 3-hit skill, so if you want to, you know, chain finish this, you have the opportunity to build a chain with your supporting cast, because you can just make them build that chain for you with that roll array skill on your off turns, and max out your evoke gauge because you're using 2 CG Cilkas. You're gonna get 5 to 6 per. That's gonna max out your evoke gauge. You'll be good to go. Get that high tier in peril. Do note that the evoke damage here, this is hybrid, right? It does not say that it's 100% of your spirit, so it's gonna hit a little bit weaker than a lot of your other skills do. But if you're using this skill for the imperil, if there's no other way for you to imperil in your party, then this is where your imperil is gonna come from. Now, if you have access to other sources of water and light imperil, then you're good to go. If you want to do all water damage or all light damage, you can go ahead and maybe use CG Lid and Fina to water and peril for you, possibly, and then maybe have someone else light and peril if that's what you desire. But a lot of cool stuff you can do with this unit. I think she's super fantastic. And one other hidden attribute that you know, we didn't really touch on is the fact that she's gonna be extremely tanky, just like Leela was back in the day, versus magic damage, because you'll be maxing out her spirit. She's going to be a 7-star character. She's got a couple HP passives, so you're going to just be smacking spirit on her, smacking evoke damage on her. She'll be pretty tanky in that regard. So a lot of those supportive aspects, super awesome. She does good damage. She does not have quad cast, right? But she also has those really high tier multipliers all the time. Does not have to unlock quad cast either. So top tier mage for a long time. Going to be super high spirit. She'll last you for forever. You could, if you're looking for a mage. Plus, if you're looking for a support unit, but you kind of want a mage too, then this is the character for you. And if you want a mage that's going to last you a long time, maybe you have eyes on, you know, CG White Lotus Dark Fina, you could probably get around all the way to CG White Lotus Dark Fina, having a blast in the summer fun with Summer and Citra Folka, Lid, and Fina. This banner is fantastic. I love these characters because they're so flexible. They have so many different aspects they can bring to your party. I mean, when's the last time you had a damage dealing character that was super tanky, could, you know, status ailment ripping your whole party, buff their whole stat, be an MP battery, all at the same time? Never. I don't think we've ever had that before. So very cool unit. The lesser of the two that are talked about, but very, very strong nonetheless, guys. So if I was bad today, I am sorry. I didn't sleep that much, to be honest with you. You know, it was like the night before Christmas, man. No, that really wasn't. I just didn't sleep that much. So, but we are streaming tonight, 8 p.m. Twitch.tv. Me and Clake duo stream. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Don't miss out. Set it on your calendar somewhere. All right, and I'll catch you guys there. Be safe. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.